So I definitely decided to have a different name. I think Pieces of Wisdom, that's very also close to my heart.
Of course.
Wisdom is my last
Right.
name.
Yeah. Perfect name for a social worker, by the way.
Thank you. I get that a lot. People
That's
are
awesome.
like, Dr. Wisdom. I was like, no, not a doctor. Just Natalie Wisdom.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sounds of Health, where we uncover inspiring stories, highlight incredible people, and share valuable resources to help you boost your physical, emotional, and financial well-being. I'm your host, Dave McNiven, and today I'm excited to welcome our guest, Natalie Wisdom. Natalie is a licensed clinical social worker and the CEO and founder of two private practices, Divine Resilience Psychotherapy in Connecticut and Pieces of Wisdom in New York. Natalie, welcome to Sounds of Health.
Thank you.
We're excited to have you here today.
And I'm excited to be here today.
So, first of all, you have spent time in both Connecticut and New York. You've got two private practices, one in each location.
Yes.
So you're a social worker. What actually got you into that business? What is your background? And tell us a little bit about, the two locations and what you're doing today.
Okay. Oh, gosh. So I went to the University of New Haven for criminal justice because that's kind of what I thought I wanted to do. So I did a concentration in juvenile and family justice, and I double minored in psychology and sociology, and I also received a certificate in victim administrative services. So I did all that. Then I was like, what am I going to do? I'm like, I don't want to work in the prison system, and I actually want to work with people before they got to the prison system. So I decided I was going to go get my master's in social work. So I went to Springfield College, accomplished that, and figured I would do clinical work because I'm passionate about that, and that would be able to kind of help people and support people in the ways that they needed. So I started out in outpatient mental health here in Connecticut. So I worked for an organization, got all my hours for my license, I took my test, and then I eventually moved to New York, where I also transferred my license there. So I was actually dually licensed. So while I was in New York, I started working for part-time as a social worker in a homeless shelter. It was a MICA shelter, so predominantly clients with mental health issues. So that was an eye-opener, but it was really good work, and just kind of like connecting with the women in the shelter and just being able to support them. And thereafter, I started my supervisory position at a nonprofit organization. So I started out as the associate clinic director. Within a couple months, 7 months, I was promoted to the actual clinic director because that clinic director left. So I got promoted. And then within 11 months, I was actually promoted to the associate vice president of clinics. So I oversaw 3 outpatient mental health clinics throughout Brooklyn and 2 school-based programs.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Sounds like a big position.
It was really great. And I felt like it was just kind of what I enjoy doing and really kind of supporting people and just really kind of helping. So I spent about 5 years doing within that organization and working with that population. So we had a clinic in Brownsville, Canarsie, and also it was downtown Brooklyn. So different populations. So we got different kind of people, which was really good, and just being able to kind of support those individuals. So that was fun. And then after that, I left there and went to supportive housing. So I worked for an organization in Manhattan where we house young adults 18 to 26 throughout New York City. So we were predominantly based, though, in Bronx. So we would find housing and we would pay for their housing. We provide them life skills and just kind of support them to be able to move out of the program once they hit about 26 and move to independent living. Within that time, I was also working on building my private practice. So
because you needed more to do.
I know. I'm always doing something. I take on a lot.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah, I just love to learn. I love to help. So I just cannot be still. I love to learn and I love to really give back and really help. But with all that, I was building my private practice and I was doing it on the side. I actually opened my private practice, my first one, Pieces of Wisdom, in Park Slope, where
Very nice.
yes,
One of my favorite places.
I know, nice. It's beautiful there. So I kind of rented an office space on Fifth Ave in Park Slope and started there. And that's kind of how I came about with my initial private practice. And eventually, I didn't continue because of overhead. It's a lot,
Yeah,
right?
I bet, yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of put a pause on it and really kind of went back to focusing on my full-time work and just really kind of supporting the community and working with the organizations. And during COVID, my own therapist, she said, "Why don't you open back your private practice?" And I'm like, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah, you should." I was like, "Okay." So she kind of talked me through it and just to do a telehealth practice. And I kind of started there and I was kind of like doing that on the side while still kind of maintaining my full-time positions. So I would see my clients on the weekends or in the evenings. And I was like, I can really see myself doing this like fully. And, I relocated back to Connecticut during the pandemic, and I said, well, now I have two licenses, so I might as well open another practice in Connecticut. Already have the blueprint, and I've been doing it, so I kind of just followed the blueprint that I was doing in New York and started another private practice here. And
That's fantastic.
So that's my story in a short.
Okay. Well, I have a lot of questions.
Okay.
But first of all, why the different name? Why not just keep Pieces of Wisdom in Connecticut?
Because I don't know. I wanted something different.
Okay.
I did. I think the name came about, like my daughter's name. Her name is Kimaya, but the meaning is divine. And then I had a really, really tough 2021. And through that tough 2021, my therapist, she said, she's like, "You're very resilient." So I don't want to get emotional because I'm talking about it, right?
That's fine.
But so that's how the name kind of came about. So it had so much more, it's had a different meaning for me.
Yeah.
So, and when you have kids, you definitely have to be resilient. So
Very true. Yes.
So I think that was kind of like the birth of something new. And I wanted something new and something different to be kind of to represent Connecticut. So I definitely decided to have a different name. I think Pieces of Wisdom, that's very also close to my heart.
Of course.
Wisdom is my last
Right.
name.
Yeah. Perfect name for a social worker, by the way.
Thank you. I get that a lot. People
That's
are
awesome.
like, Dr. Wisdom. I was like, no, not a doctor. Just Natalie Wisdom. So, so that also has a lot of meaning just kind of behind my name, my dad, and just kind of continue that legacy with my name. So I just kind of wanted to kind of keep it there. So that's kind of why.
That's great. Well done on both of the names.
Thank you.
I think they're both fantastic and really are connected to what you're doing, which is really very cool. Going back a little bit, so you went to school at UNH in New Haven.
Yes.
So are you from the area originally? Like what got you to UNH and what got you, because initially you said you were going into law and criminal law?
Criminal justice.
Criminal justice. Yes. Okay. Because they have a great program there,
yes,
right?
Yes, they do. One of the best.
Yeah. So tell me, let's go back a little bit and talk to me about where you're from originally and what got you into that kind of the interest in criminal justice.
So I'm originally from Jamaica. I was born there, kind of came to the U.S. when I was about 10 years old and lived in New York for maybe a year. Then I moved to Connecticut, lived in Bloomfield. So I kind of grew up in Bloomfield, went to Carmen A. Ray's for like a year, and then I went to Bloomfield High School. So I ran track throughout my high school career. And I think senior year, I'm like, I don't know like what I want to do. We're supposed to have it figured out, but we don't.
No, you're not.
That's what we're told.
Yeah,
but,
right. That's what we're told. Yeah.
So, during the senior year, we had like career day, and we had people like come in and talked about their careers. And I think one individual really kind of sparked me in regards to just the work that she was doing, and she was like really helping the community, and it really kind of resonated to me, and just kind of felt like that would be something that I wanted to do. And I think also through track, I also learned about the University of New Haven, so I was actually being recruited to run track there. So that's kind of how I ended up going to the University of New Haven, and they didn't have a social work program. So I felt like the next best thing was the criminal justice program.
That's great.
So I kind of went there, but I think predominantly between being recruited for track was really kind of what really kind of led me there. And I had a track scholarship. So, and then I made the best of the majors that they had, and the next best one was criminal justice, and I felt like I could be able to help people through that. So
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. But social work was also something you were interested at the time?
Yes.
So that was always kind of part of your plan?
Yeah, so that's why I went and got my master's in social work, because you don't need to have like, a degree in whatever. You get your master's.
Of course.
You can get your master's in anything.
Yeah.
But I definitely loved criminal justice. It was really a great field, and I learned a lot and had some great professors and great experience there. But I really felt like I wanted to connect with people before they got into whatever systems. If I could help to kind of prevent that and just really kind of show up and support, I think that would make a difference.
That's great. Did you kind of have an idea when you went to get the master's what you wanted the career to look like? Because there's so many ways you can go, right, with a social worker degree.
Yes. Maybe I'm biased, but I think in terms of like all the therapy degrees, the LMFT, LPC, I feel like social work is the best because it's very versatile. I think you could work in any field within, whether it's criminal justice, you could work in the schools, you can work in the courts, you can do private practice, you can work in hospitals. So you can pretty much do almost anything with that degree. So I think that's also what drew me to it. But I also always knew I wanted to have a private practice, just not this early. I always felt it was going to be my end game.
Yeah.
Like when I'm like put in my 20 years and I can retire and I can just kind of see a few clients, because again, I do so much. I don't feel like I'll ever retire. It was really like my end game, not my like right now, but it just kind of really worked out and turned into kind of like my right now plan and my game.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense too. So you kind of always had that entrepreneurial spark as well. You thought at some point you were going to have your own business.
Yes, at some point. Yes, definitely. I definitely like working for myself. I think what pushed me it's the freedom, being able to kind of control just
absolutely
my freedom, and that's kind of what I wanted. And I was able to actually do that. So
I totally get that. I got into what I do now because of that. I switched careers because my kids were getting a certain age, and the job I had was just, it didn't have the flexibility I needed. I didn't want to miss out on things. So being your own boss definitely provides you with that flexibility and freedom.
Absolutely.
Brings a whole other set of challenges. Flexibility and freedom. All good.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. So, okay, that's great. I'm also the son of two social workers.
Oh, are
so
you?
I do, I have seen it firsthand. My mother had a few different positions in her career, including having a small private practice. And my dad was in the school system. He was at Hamden High School.
Oh, nice.
So he was the social worker there for many years. So I have an affinity for people in that career path. So tell us a little bit about these two practices. Are you doing the same thing in each one? And what is it that you offer to people?
Sure. I am actually doing the same thing. So they're actually group practices. So I'll start with New York. So we have about 8 clinicians in the practice. I do have a part-time admin staff that works for us. So, and in Connecticut at Divine, we have about 5 clinicians, and also that part-time staff is split between my part-time admin. He is split between New York and Connecticut. We do the same things pretty much. So we are doing individual therapy, family therapy, group therapy. For clients, we primarily work with people who are Black and brown people who are just really kind of looking for support. So, and I I think a lot of times, Black and brown people struggle to find people that look like them and
Yeah.
that they can identify with. I know for me, that was really one of my struggle, which also when I first started therapy, my therapist was white and she was great, but as an African-American woman, she just really didn't understand me. So that was really big for me. So I think in my practice now, that is something that we strive to make sure that we are connected to the clients that come to us. So we serve everyone, but it's always nice to when clients come and they have like a safe place and they're like, oh my God, you get me. I don't have to, I can say I'm queer and you understand that, and you don't have to ask me, what does that mean? Or you respect my pronouns if I'm they, them. So it's really good to be able to kind of support people on the level that they need to be supported.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of this, a lot of what we provide.
Gotcha. So you're really matching people up to somebody. It's not always the right fit, but
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, but it is. And we have Hispanic clinicians as well. And in Connecticut, we definitely have a lot of BIPOC clinicians. I think one of my clinicians, she's Asian, and we have one clinician who's from Guyana. So it's really great to have also that diversity in the staffing, so we can really meet anyone's needs and really kind of support the clients that's actually looking for that support and looking for people that understand stuff.
Gotcha. And can you define BIPOC for me?
So it's a Black Indigenous people of color. So
Okay.
yes, we work a lot with Black and brown clients. So some of our clients, even though we do accept commercial insurance, we also work with clients who are on Husky and have Medicaid.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's difficult for them to find services, and they sometimes have to go to maybe an outpatient, program, and the wait list is really long for them to see someone. And also there's this high turnaround, so they get connected to a therapist, and then within 3 months, the therapist is burnt out and they leave, and now they have to start that connection all over again. And it's a lot of heartbreaking.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. So the clinicians, they're committed because they do the work that they are doing. And, they stay around. That's one of the big things is really kind of building that therapeutic relationship with the clients, really kind of providing that safe, non-judgmental place, and just being able to meet them where they are and providing that client-centered treatment. And the clients really appreciate that. So
I'm sure they do. That's awesome. So you have 13 clinicians between the two locations.
Correct.
Is it all telehealth?
Yes, it is. Yes.
And telehealth, is that on the phone? Is it via Zoom, or is it via a virtual meeting?
It's a virtual meeting.
It is, okay.
So yes, we do virtual face-to-face. So all our clients have a client portal, HIPAA compliant. So they do log into the portal with the clinician and they do meet for their sessions there.
So you, as founder and CEO of both of these organizations, you probably have a lot on your plate. And so how much are you actually practicing, and how much are you managing and doing all the day-to-day of what it takes to have two businesses?
So that's been my struggle, if I'm going to be honest. So I actually, not just running the business, I work in my business. So I have, I think I have about 32 clients that I have myself, which is a pretty large caseload for someone who's in private practice. But I do love my clients, so I've been seeing them for a while. So I'm really connected to them. But one thing I have been learning is I need to delegate, and I can't do it all. So that's been the struggle with entrepreneurship, because, the practices are my baby. They're very much near and dear to my heart. So I always want to make sure that I'm doing everything and running everything, and the clients are happy and the therapists are happy too. So I am learning that some of the admin stuff I do have to let go of.
It's a challenge of any business owner.
Yeah, it's not easy, right? So one of my biggest struggles is I love to be kind of that initial contact for the clients. Just so I can really connect with them, talk to them about what's going on, really kind of see how we can help them and how we can be a best fit for them. So this is one of my struggle is having to relinquish this responsibility to my admin. So, but I know I need to because it will free me up to be able to do some other things within the practice.
Absolutely. It's so important. I work with a lot of entrepreneurs, and that is just a constant theme, especially if people just starting out. At a certain point, you have to relinquish certain things. Otherwise, you can't grow, you can't scale, you can't serve more people.
Yes.
So you have to kind of let go of things. And the most important thing is really establishing the culture so that you don't have to be the person all the time, because you can trust that the people you've brought on are still providing that same amazing experience that you have.
Absolutely. Very true. And you're right. I have to trust the people that I hire. I hired them for a reason. So and they can do the job. So that's my June 1st. That is my date.
Well, you're not alone in those challenges and those struggles. We all go through that as business owners for sure.
Yeah. It's hard, but even just kind of like marketing is a big thing. Like when you work for an organization, they kind of bring you the clients. When you're an entrepreneur, you have to like go out and get your clients. You have to market, you have to show for events, you have to do so much. You're like pulled in so many different directions. So I think that's my, I'm learning how to kind of do that, but still making sure that I provide the care for my clients that they need as well.
Yeah, I can get that. Now, you mentioned group therapy, individual as well?
Yes.
And are there other things you offer? Tell me more about that.
So family therapy and couples therapy. So we individual, just kind of like one-on-one with that person and the clinician. Some groups, we actually started groups this year, and I'm pretty happy about that. So I actually ran a journaling group earlier this year, and that was really great. So we got really great feedback, and clients are like, we want more groups. So right now we're currently running a self-love group, which is awesome. Next month, the end of this month, we're going to be doing a boundaries group. So that's pretty fun. So we have like different groups, like they're 4-week groups, but we have different groups that's kind of like scheduled for the rest of the year. And I think that's really a great place for the clients to also really connect with each other too, and know that, other people are actually going through similar things that they are. Because sometimes they feel like, well, this is all just my own stuff. I'm the only one dealing with this. So when they are in that group setting, they hear other people and they get to support each other. And it's really kind of beautiful to see. And they kind of develop this like little community.
Yeah.
So has been really
There's a lot of power in that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We also do family therapy. So I have one clinician she's really great at family therapy. Like it's how she kind of controls the room with like 4, people in it, and giving each person just kind of the space to really share and really kind of work through their issues. It's really great. And it takes a lot of skill to do that.
I can imagine.
It does. I don't know if I'm that skilled as she is, but she has really great skills with that. We also do couples, counseling as well. A lot of people kind of come to us when they're struggling with just maybe relationship issues, breakdown in their relationship, or even their marriage. So we're able to kind of provide some couples therapy for them. We have 2 clinicians who specializes in couples therapy, and it's so interesting when one of the clinicians, when she started and she started doing couples, she's like, Miss Natalie, I don't know if I'm like great at this. I don't think I could do this. And we're gonna build on these skills. And she loves couples therapy.
Oh, really?
Now. Yeah, it's
That's
like
awesome.
one of her favorite things to do, and she's grown clinically with actually taking on this challenge and really kind of stepping out of her comfort zone and really being able to support the clients. So she has a lot of couples on her caseload.
Where are you finding your clinicians?
So I normally post on Indeed for clinicians, or sometimes the clinicians that's already within the practice, they'll refer someone to me. So so that's kind of how I'll find clinicians.
And where do you find your clients? How are they finding you? When should people reach out to you?
Yeah, so we're listed on Psychology Today. I do have my website. I'm also listed on insurance directories. So the different panels that I'm on, there's they list the providers there. Mm-hmm. I also do word of mouth. We get a lot of clients from word of mouth because they've had such good experience with us. So they're always referring their friends, their families, or their coworkers to us. So that's really great. I do some networking events, and I'm able to get our name out there, and we attract some people from those Events as well.
Yeah.
Social media. I actually had someone call me this week. She's like, I saw your post on Instagram and decided to call, which is great.
Yeah.
So, so we get referrals from different places. Yeah. And people who know that I'm in this field, they'll say, hey, I have someone, and they'll send people to us.
That's fantastic. Do you have any sort of goals for the businesses? Like, do you want to keep growing? You want to get bigger?
So growing, yes. Bigger, I'm not sure how much bigger, because then it's a lot to manage, right?
Yeah.
So I think my goal is to at least have 10 clinicians in each practice. And I think I'd be comfortable with that, because with 10 clinicians, I have to provide supervision for those 10 clinicians. And if I'm seeing 32 clients, that could be hard. So I think that's where my growth kind of stops in terms of just clinicians. I think we have the capacity to see between the two practices, we have about 150 clients within the practices right now. And I think growth for clients, probably about 300 clients, I think we have the capacity to manage. So I think that was what growth would look like to me. Okay. I think more than growth, I think longevity is something that I really kind of look for with the practice. Just kind of being able to sustain and still continue to provide the same service in the work, or even build on the services, even in 10 years from now, we'll still be open, right? Because a lot of, entrepreneurs, their business are closing in within the first year or after the first 5 years, right? So
absolutely.
Definitely want to beat those statistics and really kind of continue to, be sustainable.
Yeah.
That's the biggest goal for me.
And as you mentioned, consistency is so important in this work. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure keeping your clinicians with you is probably really important as well.
Yes. I think they're very committed. I like to think I'm a nice boss.
Yeah.
And I definitely provided support for them. One thing that I do offer the clinicians that do work with me, because a lot of them, they're they're LMSWs. So they're in that associate license, and then they're working towards getting their hours to take their LC.
Yeah.
So I provide them mentorship. So a part of their supervision is really kind of teaching them how to be entrepreneurs and how to start their own private practice. So one of the clinicians in Connecticut, she actually just got her license, and she's an LCSW. So now we are working on opening her private practice.
Oh, wow,
so,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So I actually met with her yesterday, and she was very thankful. She was just like, a lot of people wouldn't do this. And I'm like, I know, but this is what this is about. Like, you have to give back, right?
Yeah.
There's so much out there. There's so many people out there to support, right? And I feel that, you want people to grow, and I don't believe in like keeping people, stuck with me forever, because there's no growth opportunity if you're going to keep them stuck with you. Right. They can grow, but I think being able to kind of push them to do their own thing and start their own practice is a beautiful thing. They're already doing the work. I think they just need to learn the logistics behind that.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to always teach them that once they get their LC, and then they transition out to start working for themselves. So that's a part of what I do, that mentorship in my practice.
That's amazing, because I think, people go to school and they get these degrees and they get the training, they learn a skill set, but that does not come with knowing how to be a business owner and doing all the things we've been talking about. I mean, it is challenging. I faced that as well in my field, because that was not something I expected. Yeah. But one of the things I love most about what I do is investing in other people to build their own business. Yeah. It really is gratifying to see someone else start to have success as well. And it's a whole other level to what we do. Yeah,
absolutely. Agreed. And it's so right. When we go to school, they teach you how to go out and get a job after. Right. They don't teach you how to work for yourself. Yeah. And it's kind of like you have to learn that on your own. And that could be difficult sometimes. So I feel like, if we know we have the secret recipe, why not share it?
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
100%. What are some of the biggest challenges that you're facing?
The biggest challenge, I think, just having a steady stream of referral. It's really interesting because for the two practices, like Connecticut is like so booming with referrals, and New York has slowed down so much, which is so weird. And it's kind of like vice versa. When New York is booming, Connecticut is like slowed down. So I think just kind of being able to kind of figure out like how to kind of keep both practices kind of open to just kind of getting that ongoing referrals.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing.
Got it. And are you always looking for new people into the business, or are you hiring at certain times?
So I hire at certain times. I don't hire unless my clinicians are at capacity.
Okay.
So if they're not at capacity, it doesn't make sense to bring on other
Yep.
clinicians because they're not full and they can take more clients that's coming in.
Right.
So when they are at capacity, I will bring on new staff. So slowly, and sometimes like I'll have like a goal. Right now, I think I'm at a steady pace in New York. I do want to bring on 2 other clinicians, but I can slowly do that. So I just brought on one in, I think, February. So I'm working to build her caseload. And sometimes that takes about 6 months to build their caseload. So I think after I built her caseload in 6 months, and within the next 6 months, then I'll look to kind of see, all right, where she's at capacity, now we can kind of bring someone else on.
And is the building a caseload in 6 months due to just getting the clients, or is there also a training or an onboarding period?
Yep. So, well, the 6 months would be to get the client, but I do train. Yeah. We do have like an onboarding process, and the onboarding is probably about maybe 3 to 4 weeks it takes to onboard them, getting all their documents, training them on just kind of like the policies, procedures, how to use our EHR. And so that can take anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks. So,
okay. Yeah. What's an EHR?
What's or electronic health records.
Okay, perfect.
So where we actually keep our documents.
Yeah.
So if we get audited at any time, we have a HIPAA compliant.
So important.
EHR. Absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so that's great. Now, if there are people that are listening to this and they want to learn more about you and your services, where should we send them?
So you can send them to my website. I'll actually give you my Divine Resilience. So that's Divine Resilience, LLC, or you can email me at Divine Resilience, LLC,
Perfect. You did that way better than I did yesterday. I was on Wow Radio to promote Sounds of Health, and I couldn't remember what our email address was because we do Sounds of Health Pod and we do Sounds of Health Podcast. And so good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a mouthful.
I was trying to figure out which one should I say because I do have other ones. And I'm like, which is the easiest one to remember?
Right. Yeah, and we'll be sure to link over to all of your website and information and encourage people to follow you on social media as well. So usually the way we wrap up the show is we ask all of our guests to share some type of a health hack, something that they do in their own life that maybe our listeners could benefit from hearing that could help them to increase their emotional, physical, or financial health. Okay. So do you have anything in mind you'd like to share with our listeners?
Sure. So I have a morning routine, which I think is really, really important. Yeah. So part of that is I'm a part of that 5 a.m. club, which is, yes. So I get up in the morning and I like that because I get to have time for myself. It's really kind of peaceful. Everyone else is sleeping. So I kind of get ready in the morning. I do some journaling. I do just kind of set my goals for the day, my calendar for the day. Then I do my workout. I go for a 45-minute walk after my workout, and then I have a really nice breakfast, and then I start work. So I think the morning routines are really important. It really kind of sets the tone for your day and really kind of help you to be in a good space. So that's a part of self-care. So I'm really big on self-care and really kind of taking care of yourself. And it's really needed, especially just kind of when chaos is happening in the world, how do you kind of separate from that and really kind of continue to stay grounded and take care of yourself? So that's my big thing.
So important. I love that. Yeah. How much time are you devoting to the journaling?
So I don't, probably 10 minutes. So I do it twice. So I do a morning journal and then I do a night journal. So in the morning, I'm trying the shadow work journal. So a lot of my clients had recommended it. So
what is that?
So it's kind of digging deep into kind of maybe old things. So it's kind of asking you to kind of put questions about self. Are you a nice person? If not, why not? Or what would you like to, so it really kind of make you think about just kind of yourself and really kind of analyze who you are as a person. So it's been, I've been liking it so far. So I do that. It takes me about 5-10 minutes to do that kind of journaling. At night I do journal. I do kind of just a free We brain dump journaling.
Yeah.
And then I list 3 things that I'm grateful for at the end of the day. So gratitude is really big. It helps to keep things in perspective and really it helps to keep you happy, actually.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah. And it is funny how the actual act of reflecting on it or writing it down does impact you.
Absolutely.
It has an effect on you.
Yeah.
That's great. That's something I've kind of dropped journaling from my own practice for a while now. And I always want to get back to it. And I definitely have to incorporate that again.
You should. It's really good. It's really helpful.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's a great tip. I love that. And the morning routine, especially, I know how hard it is to wake up early. I'm at the 5:40, 6 a.m. mark. So I try to get to the gym right away because otherwise I don't get there.
Yeah.
The life just gets in the way.
Absolutely.
5 a.m. is a little early for me, but I can understand why.
Yes, I know. When I do wake up, I will say I'm not the happiest person, but
Well, that's good to hear because that makes you human.
Yeah, I do not like it, but it's something that I do, right?
Yeah.
And it's discipline. I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish I could get another hour of sleep. But I know I need, I'm a morning gym person too. If I wait till the afternoon, it won't happen.
Yeah,
and you
absolutely.
need that physical activity, that's a part of self-care and just kind of really taking care of yourself as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Well, this has been such a great conversation. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to talk to us and our listeners. And we hope to have you back on Sounds of Health sometime.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Okay, everyone, that's a wrap on another episode of Sounds of Health, brought to you by Nutmeg Insurance Advisors and recorded at the offices of Nutmeg Advisory Group. I'm your host, Dave McNiven, and Sounds of Health is produced by Jason Carubia with music by Rob Hames. Every week, we bring you stories that inspire, empower, and help you upgrade your health. If you enjoy the show, please be sure to like, subscribe, share, leave us a review. We love hearing from all of our listeners, and we hope that you all continue as an important part of our wellness community. Thanks for listening, and we see you next time.